Welcome to Herstory Revisited, where we explore more than you ever wanted to know about things you've never heard of. Together we uncover the hidden threads of the past through the eyes of women, the unsung sheroes, innovators, and peacemakers who shaped the world in ways history failed to acknowledge. Woven through these stories is a golden thread, the evolution of humanity and human consciousness. From pilgrims to pioneers, from forgotten voices to transformative moments, we explore history through the lens of the divine feminine. Because history isn't just his story, it's her story too.
I think it's fine.
Okay. Hello, people.
Hi.
Welcome to Herstory Revisited. And this is Helen Samuels, our Shero of the Day, episode 1.
Whoa.
Yes. Helen Samuels, our honored guest
Yes.
here from Mexico,
Yes.
in order to grace us with her presence and tell us all about your beautiful life.
Well, I'm very happy to be here, especially with my heroes.
We have been great friends. Let me just, I want to introduce my friend Helen. Okay, Helen Samuels, my friend. Here. Helen and I spent a year together right after I left the tech business. And that year was a whole lot of meeting with incredible women social architects,
Right.
that have really been pioneers. And to me, you and the people that you introduced me to are still today some of the people I admire the most. And I believe that their stories, some are known, some are not, but I think we as crones, as elders,
Yay.
we now
Crones.
all have the great privilege of telling y'all our why.
Yes.
And the reason why I love my friend so much, I love Sophie, of course, but I love Helen so much because a lot of us, when we were in the early days of the environmental movement, really.
Wow.
Think about that.
Whoa.
I mean, back in the 70s when I joined the Sierra Club, and the spotted owl was the big thing in the Northwest,
Mhm.
you know, protecting the spotted owl
Exactly.
from deforestation.
Going extinct, yeah.
And deforestation was a real problem before Mount St. Helens blew. And in the Northwest, logging was a big part of industry. But because Mount St. Helens killed over 1 million trees when it blew, Weyerhaeuser, this big German logging company that was clear cutting all over and creating these horrible patches in forests, they changed their practices to sustainable practices.
They actually created the movement.
They created sustainable forestry. And since 1981,
it's the model.
Okay, it's now 2026.
Yeah.
From 1981, almost 50 years, Weyerhaeuser has this circular forestry, and this grove was planted 30 years ago. This was 29 years ago. This was 28, and they just rotate groves.
Right.
And so it's the largest sustainable forestry program in America
or in the world
is right here in the Northwest.
And it's very much modeled. It was followed by other nations because it was such a successful program.
Exactly.
That they were able to say from inception to, because it takes time. Trees takes decades, so it's not something you can see it overnight. So it's generation of people monitoring it.
So why I'm so captured by my friend is that as an environmentalist, she and her peers were pioneering before even I was. And by then, some of them, like Helen, became social architects who literally helped create systems that other people, young people, could where young people could take sustainability practices and make businesses out of them. And Helen really fostered a whole generation of very young people.
Inspired people, kids,
yes.
young people.
Yes, and put them on stages that they would not have been. And so
give them tools that they could use.
Exactly.
And
so let's just talk about this for a minute, because as I recall, when we were working together 20 years ago, even, you had dozens of young people that were already creating businesses around sustainability. Tell me how that all got started, and tell me about the experience when your daughter was in high school and you were a single mom, and suddenly you found, some serious social issues going on in LA. Tell us about what led to the mural projects in the city of Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this has to go back to my mom.
Okay.
Because my mom was an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And for years, she would do murals in the streets and, and outside and everything else.
Oh, I didn't
know that.
So,
yes.
So then I was so angry about the situation with the gang members here and there that I said, and I said, Mom, help me. I need to do a mural, huge mural, so that people can see their ancestry, see the future, and that was in LA.
Right.
That we went to a place that was so disgusting. Their whores were hammering around, not paying attention.
Yeah.
And the floor is
dirty and
piss and
homeless people,
But guess what? That putting that mural and with the vision of the youth, I didn't really mess with their vision.
Yeah.
Their vision. Okay, and up to today, guess what? That whole area is the art district.
So Mayor Tom Bradley,
cool. That's so cool.
Mayor Tom Bradley, this is when you were in college at UCLA.
Yes.
In 1981.
That's when I first arrived.
Right?
Yes.
In 1981, Sophie ended up at UCLA. But Mayor Tom Bradley in the early 80s was such a big force in Los Angeles.
Right.
And that was about the time that you were working with these gangs. To create truces and create mural projects. And Mayor Tom Bradley actually recognized you.
Yes, but not only that, he helped me get sponsors. You know that the United Nations have the year of the forest or the year of the water.
Sure.
But this was the year of the youth.
Wow.
In which year? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
88.
Somewhere
around there.
So that was the year of youth.
Okay.
And because of that, he allowed and fostered. They gave us paint to paint the whole back of the area.
Right. Wow.
So there's the mural.
Which was the first mural that you did? Do you remember? It was in Compton, right?
Yeah, that was
downtown Compton.
Well, yeah, because they were the first guys.
Yeah.
Yes, but the next one was so impressive that they had laws. People couldn't sleep there.
Oh, they protected it. It was protected.
Yeah,
they made it a space
so that nobody would graffiti it or whatever.
Yeah,
but the one thing you didn't mention, either one of you, is from what I understand, you got two rival gangs to come together
and make a truce.
And make a truce.
And that was the Bloods
and then
and the Crips.
collaborate. I don't know which one it was. And collaborate
bad.
their best artists to actually collaborate together on a vision of the future.
Yes.
And that in itself is unheard of.
How many mural projects did you do in LA? Because they're still there today.
Yeah, you can see them driving around.
They went there, Compton here, back and forth. They're all over the place.
They're all over the place. How many? Are there half dozen?
The thing is that when one of them got permission, all the other ones wanted to do it.
Oh, okay.
Great. We created a movement.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. The hardest part is to make the
what Helen did was
tagging it graffiti that was negative.
Right.
So we said, hey, all about this is information, or for inspiration.
Inspiration, yeah.
This is not, we're not going to the dark.
No, we're not emphasizing that. We're emphasizing.
And they really did it right.
It's incredible.
I got sponsored 400 kids.
Well, that's a lot of kids.
Well, we had we sponsored hold on, to go to when the United Nations had an event for
climate youth employee.
Yes, I took 42. From different barrios.
Yes. Wow.
I took them to Turkey.
To Turkey.
Yes.
Okay. Oh. That was a United Nations.
It was a big event.
Youth event.
Right.
So they won all the prizes.
Wow.
And they couldn't believe it.
So Helen had a manifesto. She was teaching these young people to have a purpose, to have a point about their life, and to use kind of a manifesto of a code of conduct, right, to step up for their community.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about that. What your inspiration was in developing. They started calling you like the Pied Piper of eco punk.
Punk, yeah. So let's define that. Why the? Yeah.
Well, the punks and the graffiti are totally
goes together. Yeah.
Well, it was a big movement.
Yeah.
The music movement was a big part of that.
There was different movements.
Hip hop was beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there were various differences, but all were welcome.
Right.
That was the whole thing.
Sure.
And most of the kids that went to imagine going to Turkey.
What did you do in Turkey?
From the ghetto, you know.
Wow, and meeting the local youth.
Yes.
In a completely different region of the world.
Yes.
Different language, different culture, different religion, different,
And they got along perfectly through making murals.
Through arts. Oh my God.
Come on.
Wow, universal language.
Tell me about your mom. She knew Diego Rivera, right?
Well, yes, she was
and Frida Kahlo.
Well, when she was young, very young, she was she was in San Francisco. He was doing murals. He would go but she was the one doing the details.
Oh, she worked for him.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all the leaves. And
she's like details. The Carmen of Carmen Sauras of Rodin.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. He had a person doing the detail for him, but nobody knew about it until they found out.
The artist behind the artist.
That was her.
Okay.
Wow.
And she worked so well.
So she knew a lot about murals, and the mural project kind of evolved
because
out of
he
your
was
mom.
in that.
Yes. Well, she inspired.
Cool.
She got the idea from her. Wow.
Yeah. So the murals that you did in LA, were they certain theme?
Yes, but the thing that they said.
They picked it up.
You let the kids, the youth would pick.
Yeah.
they wanted collectively to do.
How they would like to see their world.
Tell me about this rival gang, because I mean, if anyone remembers, Rodney King and the riots in Los Angeles were happening in the late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there. I can't remember what year it was.
Late 80s,
but it was right at the beginning of the hip hop movement. It was straight out of Compton. The straight out of Compton stuff was going down in LA.
Right.
And Helen was an interpreter for the courts.
Yeah.
So she knew some of these punks.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I would come out of work and just go right to the murals here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I was an interpreter.
An interpreter.
Yeah. So
court interpreter.
as soon as I got out, I went straight down to that barrio.
Yeah. Ooh, that was a dangerous place.
Oh, ugly.
Yeah.
People humping and right.
There were parts of LA that really were rough.
Yeah.
Especially downtown.
Yes.
That area of
drugs.
Compton.
And drugs.
You have to wipe.
You told me a story about one of your youth that couldn't even cross the street to go to school because one gang held one block and one gang held the other block. Oof. And in order to be able to get to school, they had to cross the rival gang's block.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a dangerous situation.
Sure.
They were hiding in churches and guns going off. And
it was Wild Kingdom, I'll tell you.
Wild Kingdom, yeah.
And to think about that,
and
then if you look at the vision that they put up
they created, wow.
Magic.
Wow.
Magic.
All they needed was a neutral space to put their tradition and their envisioning their future.
Yeah.
Because youth has so much energy to manifest. They're at the beginning of their journey.
Exactly.
And you got them, I don't know, the paint and the use paint or whatever. How much it's still up there.
I attached to that means that you can get killed. They put names out that go after.
They would put a hit out on someone. Yeah.
Come on,
wow.
Cartels are no joke either. There's some serious gang activity that can go down.
Yeah, but now it's the art district.
But how did you get them to collaborate?
Yeah.
I did it with the Native Americans.
Oh.
Okay. I had friends in that world, and I said, let's make a circle, big circle. When they can say their piece.
They can speak.
Oh, kind of like the talking stick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
no interruption.
Actually, some Native Americans were running it for me.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they respected those guys.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, and they were respected, so they respected them.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's you have to give what you want to receive.
You know what I'm saying?
And in creating a circle of respect where everyone has a voice and could be heard, it's a game changer.
And Sophie and I produced many peace conferences way back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And what we were trying to achieve was, if you can bring people of faith into one place and they can unite over the golden rule,
right?
What would happen in that collaborative forum? And so we created we had a talk show in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Back in
on the radio.
It was kind of a side project from working for a living. And it played from 5 to 6 a.m.
Very early, yes.
Oh, so
it was pre-recorded. We didn't get up that early, but we did it. Yeah.
Yeah. But the interesting thing, I just wanted to address the Native Americans, because if you show up into a forum where many different people of faith from different perspectives come together, you're always going to find the golden people of these native tribes, because of Mother Earth being such a principle, and because the Hopi prophecies about unity and the human family and what it meant to be one family.
Right.
And the interpreters, all of us went to interpreting school. Right. Interpreters are supposed to make those
we step in
bridges.
Both worlds and transparent in between those worlds, we bring them together.
Right.
Yes.
But what's interesting is when you theologically, not from a religious perspective, but from an idea of of how you operate in the human family.
Spiritual. It's more of a spiritual
Yeah,
one.
when you care about bringing people together,
right,
you're always going to find someone from some indigenous tradition
right,
at that forum.
right.
Because I mean, the thing that I've been so touched by in working with, because you and I both, all of us, we've worked with the Lakota and the Hopi and the Navajo and the Kogi and the Maya and you way before us. And you've been like interpreter of the timekeeper for the Maya.
Yeah, the
Maya. You know, I mean, that's wow.
Wow.
Right? Literally no joke. Well, I literally believe that the Maya people have the key to the universe, and they have encoded in their language, in their calendaring, in their codexes, in their temples.
Right.
They have one temple that was just recently discovered in southern Mexico. I think it's in Oaxaca. Can't remember which region it was, but it has the map of the universe in stone, and showing where the time portals are throughout the universe.
Oh my God.
And since their calendaring system and their counting system is this 13-note musical scale, and 60 sexagesimal. 60 is 60. What? It's the time. It's the numbers of seconds in a minute. It's the numbers of minutes in an hour. 60.
Yeah, 60.
And their Solkin corresponds to the human DNA.
Exactly.
One signature tone frequency for each of the amino acids of each of the human DNA, and how it unravels. And that their counting system is genius. It's like it's the Fibonacci sequence. It's a map of the sound current.
And it's as accurate as our atomic
And Helen
clocks,
is the interpreter for Don Alejandro Ojlaj, the first indigenous ambassador to the United Nations.
Now, you must tell the story of how the Mayan were told that they were going to, 3 times they're going to be turned down to join the community.
Let's talk about the Hopi prophecy.
I mean, just tell one. Just tell us, because a lot of people don't know.
I think you should tell it.
No, you tell it.
So we all knew in the 80s, if you were in these peace conferences and if you were in these circles of sacred ceremony, which all of us were, and it was funny because there were this group of women that were mostly European American women that all ended up in these circles, you know, and each one of these women are social architects, system thinkers, people that have created gathering places for humans to collaborate over sustainability. And sustainability is so much the earth,
that's it,
the Madre Tierra, the Earth Mother, and how to be able to get in tune with our planet so that we can be in alignment with the stars. That was really this unifying principle. And the blue star Kachina prophecy of the Hopi was that there would be a time of the great turning where humans would evolve into the next version. And Barbara Marx Hubbard called it Homo Universalis.
Right.
That we would become a galactic human.
Yes, we would acknowledge that
join
we're one
the
of
stars,
many,
and that the human family would be one in relation to the rest of the stars.
Right.
And 40 years. I mean, you've even more of those years of all of us being in ceremony with these people. And 3I Atlas, this interstellar object, the third one in 2025 that showed up literally at the end of October. I think it was October 25th that it came into awareness of the European Space Agency and the NASA. And the Atlas telescope in Chile was the first to find it. So they called it the third interstellar object, 3I Atlas. Atlas is the telescope that discovered it.
Right.
But what set us off? We just went because it was blue. It was red. Then it went on the other side of the sun, and it came back, and it was blue.
Yeah.
And that was prophesied in the Hopi. The Hopi said at that point is when humans would come together as one and peace would reign.
Wow.
And so we think
My
we're
hair's
here.
going
We
like
hope
this.
We're here now. We're all here to
Right.
initiate this great peace.
Right.
Yes.
But the point that I was referring to, because of Helen being the interpreter of Don Alejandro, which was the Mayan, the elder Mayan, the keeper of the Mayan wisdom and faith
And the
and
13 moon
knowledge,
calendar.
and the calendar, the Mayan calendar, where everybody freaked out. Oh my God, it's ending. What's going to
The
happen?
end of the world.
There was a prophecy that said that 3 times the Native American, all of them, not just the Mayan, all of the native, the Aboriginal, the native tribes had never had a seat in the white men, like United
At the World
Nations,
Conference.
at the World Conferences. So the first one was the League of Nations, and somebody, said, we should invite them, etc., and it was turned down. The second time was actually the United Nations, League of Nations
When
first,
the
and
charter
United
was
Nations,
signed.
when the charter was signed, and they still went, no, we're not going to do it.
And that was 75 years ago.
And that was 75 years ago. And so if the third time the request was made by the Native American, the native, beings from all over the world, and if it was going to turn down, there was going to be a horrible fate for all of humanity.
They said
included.
humanity could end.
It could end because they were the keeper of the wisdom, the earth wisdom. They didn't go into capitalism. They didn't go into a lot of the movements, industrialism. They didn't go through
Christianity,
working with the physical world, in an extractive kind of way, to get more comfortable, because it's hard when you're outside. But they kept the connection with the earth and the wisdom from the earth and the true wisdom. You don't take more than you always leave some, so it grows back. You're one among the many relations. All the relations you're part of that. But the third time, they actually were admitted in, and that was a huge thing. And Don Alejandro represented all of the native from all over the world.
Is that the United Nations finally appointed an ambassador to indigenous people.
That's correct.
Everywhere in the
That's
world.
correct.
There you go.
And that's why Chief Phil is so important too, because Canada did it first.
Yeah, Canada has much
Canadian
more respect for its
AID.
Yes,
appointed Chief Phil as indigenous
representative
to go out and
to the government, to the
use their
institutions.
governmental money to help indigenous people in the developing
But Canada
world.
has started mending its past and is they're in government everywhere. You look at their government; it's in every department in Canada. They're in there.
Yeah,
not just when Justin Trudeau was the premier there. You look at the Olympics. The Olympics. You do not start something in Canada where all of the tribes are not represented.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not in the back of the picture. They're in the front. They move them,
First Nation,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So America is still
we're a little behind in the conquering business.
But it's happening, and that's a beautiful thing. And Don Alejandro had the incredible role to carry the voice of all of First Nations, in New Zealand, all over the place. And he traveled.
And a lot of white people got hysterical about the end of the world in 2012.
But there's always those people.
But what's interesting, Helen, is we're at December 21st, 2025, which is exactly 13 years. And that's one whole cycle of music to get to Three Eye Atlas. I really believe that December 21st, 2025 is what was prophesied in the initiation of the light codes that would change the pace of humanity, that we're rising in vibration as a collective. Talk about Jose Arguelles, because you were friends with him, he and his wife.
Yes.
And what was important about Jose along the western coast of America, and the Silicon Valley particularly, all the idea people.
California.
I'm just saying, the Mayan factor.
His book, yes.
When he wrote this book about the Mayan calendaring system and brought it to the awareness of the sort of New Age movement.
The white people that did not were not privy to the information.
What? A new calendar?
Yeah.
Didn't you tell me?
Calendar.
And how our time is not the right time, and how we're measuring time, which is kind of a programming system, is slightly off. And because of this, we have been off kilter, in our.
What he's saying is that the Roman calendar is so deharmonized from the system of the lunar cycles of the Earth.
It was military. It was a military. The calendar
was designed.
was designed
Designed
for
for-
military purposes
Exactly.
by the
Yeah, yeah.
Romans.
Well, it was
Right.
solar, so it was
Yes.
masculine instead of lunar. Made
And it was very
feminine.
male
It was
and not feminine.
right.
So it's no longer synchronized to the moon. And the Hopi were saying the divine principle, the divine feminine,
Yeah.
the grandmothers
Mhm.
would run the next era because the
Right.
grandmothers bring the whole human family together.
Exactly.
But all bodies of water are controlled by the moon. I mean, you cannot exclude that. I mean, our body is mostly 70% of water, male,
Right.
female, it doesn't matter. And all of the water, we're a
Exactly.
blue planet. I mean, you cannot think it's, it controls everything.
But I wanted to ask Helen, didn't you tell me that you introduced Jose Arguelles to Don Alejandro?
I think I did because it's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, the harmonic convergence.
Oh,
Tell me
yeah.
about that day.
How did that come
Because
about?
for those
Yeah.
of us that are in the consciousness movement and have been,
and heard about it, but
the harmonic convergence was a turning point. And it was in the Mayan calendaring system also a really important turning point.
Well, I don't really. I really remember that people were faxing all over the world.
Yes.
That's what we had at the time.
Fax was such an innovation.
Fax is
It was before the internet, so it was the only way to communicate internationally.
Right.
On onion paper.
Oh,
Yeah.
thermal paper
Thermal paper.
Faxes all over
that fades out within like 2
I like
years.
to say I did international business before the fax machine.
Yeah, we had the
That makes me
telex.
sound really old.
We had the telex and letters of credits. That just ages us.
Yeah, it did. So you were there. You were
Yeah.
interpreting for Don Alejandro.
Exactly.
Tell me about that day.
But the thing is that I had been preparing for it,
Mm.
but when the day came, I just wanted to be in peace
Mm.
and not much
Running around.
Too much activity.
About running around with logistics. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember that just before dawn, I ran away and
To go off and
To
meditate.
go meditate, yeah.
I had to do my own thing, not with all the people.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
So when that came out like that, I said, "This is a new era." I really felt it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt it that it was a new era.
Era, yeah.
And for those of us that were there doing peace conferences in 1980, Sophie and I just met
Oof, yeah.
right after the harmonic convergence. And there was a human movement that followed
Yes,
that.
the awakening.
An
I called
awakening.
it the
yeah.
awakening.
Literally.
Yeah.
And Jose talked a lot about the noosphere, this
Mhm.
common consciousness of humanity. And are we all part of the same being?
And
That was-
quantum physics is proved that as being, the field, the quantum
Yes,
field.
that's
And those
the field.
spheres was Pierre Teilhard de Chardin.
And Barbara Marx
Barbara Max
Hubbard,
Hubbard took it from Teilhard de
and
Chardin and then
Buckminster
Fuller,
and
and
how
so
much of an influence he was on all of us.
how there is no, we talk about this space, but it's not space. It's the entanglement. It's like you can see all the filaments that are holding everything together. And now quantum physics has proven that everything is entangled. Nothing floats on its own.
Well, we all are.
No.
We're entangled.
Well, yeah, we all are entangled.
That's why Helen's back.
Yes. We got to do that more often.
No, but 24 years ago, Helen and I was helping her raise money for her organization called Techio.
Yeah.
And Techio was a youth sustainability incubator. I think that's a good way to describe it, to foster young people in creating businesses around affordable technology and appropriate technology.
Low tech, but yes.
And a lot of that was open source.
Correct.
Way back, Sophie and I were champions of the early open source movement because we
Right.
worked at Sun Microsystems and we ran a steering committee for language handling, for globalization.
Mm-hmm.
And what was happening at that time was, you could not get all of the world to collaborate over one code set unless it was open and transparent.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't move technology forward without this infrastructure. And what was so beautiful when I met you was that the Global Eco Village Network in Summertown, Tennessee, Leora Adler
Oh
and,
my
and
goodness.
Albert
Angie
Bates
and
and
Yes.
Yeah.
your
My
your
heroes.
compadres,
Yes.
the people you introduced us to. And Sophie and I ended up going and living at the Permaculture
It was.
Institute.
We were the oldest
Studying.
one. Everybody was like 18. We were like 34.
They were all on internships. We were like 40 something
from all over
old
the world.
ladies.
Yeah, but it was fun.
Anyway,
Slept in bunk beds and all
we
of that.
actually we consulted to
Yeah.
Gaia University before they launched.
That's
Oh,
right.
Before
bravo.
Leora
At the
and
very
Andy.
early days, yes.
And I still have notes from that.
The Eco Village Network that now is all over the world.
But
Come
but
yeah.
the
on.
Global Eco Village Network. What? Tell me about the caravan. Let's talk about.
Oh, you went way back. Okay.
No,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Rainbow
The Rainbow
Family,
Family.
because
Yeah.
there were-
Explain it. Yeah.
there were hippies in the 60s
Yeah.
who traveled up and down the Americas in these funky multicolored buses.
Converted
Yes.
buses. Converted
Converted
buses.
buses.
Painted, converted.
And there used to be,
Flowers
for those
and-
here in the Northwest, we had a bus called the Green Tortoise,
Yeah.
which was a hippie bus.
It's still. I mean, it's yeah. We took it.
No, I don't.
maybe not.
I don't think it operates anymore. but
Eventually broke down.
Sophie and I, in our 40s, went and did this
It was fun.
might-ridden experience
Well, I went
of
to San
playing
Francisco.
among the,
We went through Nevada.
the dirty
to-
socks of
Yeah, yeah.
hippies.
No, but it was a
This
great way to
bus.
network with young people. Experience nature.
Anyway, they drove from the Canadian border
All
to
way
the
down
Mexican
Mexico,
border
Yeah,
along California, back
yeah.
and
They're
forth.
different tours, but yeah, different trips.
And the caravana was a hippie community, rainbow family mostly.
Exactly.
And they were traveling all the way down to South America.
Mhm.
So they had little stops along the way, and
Right.
different gurus. Ram Dass had a thing in Cuernavaca.
Yeah.
I went
Yeah.
to school at his
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
little
Yeah,
ashram
yeah.
that he
Oh,
had
that.
in Cuernavaca. And yeah, we bailed. So Trisha and I, we were just talking about it over Christmas.
That's right.
When in 1981, I was in international relations at University of Oregon, and they had a program with the Instituto Cuernavaca in
Uh-huh.
Cuernavaca.
Mhm.
And we went to that, but I was so sick. I got so sick.
Right.
You ate something
Yeah.
on the street
Yeah,
and you got
some
some
diarrhea.
amoeba. The amoeba did not
I
go
got
good.
giardia poisoning.
Yeah.
Oh.
And because I was so sick, Trisha and I decided to bail from the Institute of Cuernavaca because we met this guy
You
who
found-
seemed like so enlightened.
Yeah.
And he was like, "We have a school. Why don't you come over to
It's
our
a lot
school?
cheaper, and we
It's
have this
cheaper,
and that,
and
and this.
we have
and
vegetarian food."
We do yoga, meditation.
Okay.
I so would have wanted to be there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that was my
was
initiation
before.
into consciousness thinking was
Yeah.
in 1981.
Yeah.
And you were living there in Cuernavaca. I mean, right next door in Tepoztlán.
Right.
That's right.
Tepoztlán.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about the
I still-
caravana and the
Still
Eco
live
Village
in
network.
Tepoztlán.
Well, because you live in an eco village. So
Yeah.
tell me about these young hippies and what they created.
Oh, it was fantastic. A lot of music.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
In the evening,
Drums and
music.
guitar and
A
yes.
lot of youth really engaged in planting. They're still doing that.
Permaculture gardening.
Yes,
Yes.
gardening.
Solar, wind, water collection, all of that is
Exactly.
And appropriate technology.
appropriate
because the
technology, yeah.
Institute
And
for
also
Appropriate Technology open
medicinal-
sourced
Yes.
their
they
stuff.
gave it for free. Yeah.
medicinal.
Medicinal
Oh, medicinal,
herbs
super important.
Very
Yes.
important.
and midwifery.
How did
you
you-
were
Oh,
doing.
Yes.
You were a midwife.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how important in Summertown, Tennessee, a bunch of these hippies were on the peace train.
Right.
You remember everybody knew about
I think there was a song.
the song train, the
Yeah.
song about the end of the Grateful Dead and Janis Joplin
Joplin,
and,
yeah.
and a whole bunch of hippies were on this train. And how did they end up in Tennessee?
Well, Tennessee had a lot of musicians.
Probably because
Yeah.
of Nashville.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of free land because.
Well, anyway,
because
they
Bates,
bought this ginormous amount of land
Yeah,
in
hundreds of
Summertown,
acres.
Tennessee,
Yeah,
and created this hippie commune.
yeah.
And since they were off grid, they learned and taught each other a lot
How
of
to create,
appropriate
technology.
technology
They
way
had-
early in
They
soul.
Way,
had
way
little
before, yeah.
schools, you know?
And then they
In the
created a
70s.
school, right? But
Yeah.
now that they've done it, they're like, we have to teach people how to do that. So people would come, pay very little money, and they would be housed and fed, and in exchange they would give some of their manpower, labor to be able to build more of the stuff. So they learned doing it, and they
Yeah.
created it then more formally of a school with a program, and and
But
it's
some of these
it's
women,
incredible.
Leota Adler,
Yeah.
Helen Samuels,
Yes.
Starhawk,
Starhawk. Yeah.
and Lindsay Wagner, so
Yeah.
many of these women, young hippies,
Mm-hmm.
were intersecting with these people,
Right.
and saying we've got to teach young people
Right.
and begin to foster them.
Sure.
Exactly.
And Gaia University branched out of that. U and Tekio branched out of that. Starhawk has the Permaculture Institute in Petaluma with Penny
Yeah.
Livingston Stark and Peacemakers. Lindsay did
Right.
her whole thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you women are the social sheroes. Yes, you're sheroes for us.
Yes, the sheroes.
But you're a social architect.
But also,
because you actually created science. You created a repeatable system
systems, yeah,
for young
systems
people to follow.
that
Exactly.
outlive its creator, and just like you plant a seed that becomes a small sapling and then a tree.
Yeah.
Usually, you can never get to see the tree because it takes more than several lifetimes to get there. But in your case, the systems are existing. They've morphed through time because things are changing, technology and all of that. And they're now,
These
you
young
can see
people
them.
are
They're
old
in the
people
fabric.
now.
I know.
I mean, Tamara and City, their kids are all grown up.
Yep.
If you enjoyed today's episode, follow the show, share it with someone else who loves a good story, or leave a review. It helps us to keep this channel going. Thank you for coming by, and until next time, stay curious and keep asking questions. We'll see you soon.